Good Monday morning, everyone. What we're looking at here is the sort of the whimsical version of the Death card from Tarot of Ceremonial Magic. There is the qliphothic sigil, and there is the sort of enigmatic. You sort of see the tomb of, well, who knows exactly what the mercurial genie sigils were, but we've got 120 there, which is kind of reminiscent of the Pestos of Christian Rosenkreuz and all of that. But of course, it's the Nun Hebrew letter, and there's the king scale of color behind the Hebrew letter Nun, and the queen scale of color uh, behind the sign of Scorpio, which the sun right now, as we're speaking, it's 10 a.m. here Pacific time, and about just a few minutes ago, less than an hour ago, the sun entered Scorpio for 2023, and we're going to discuss briefly what Crowley had to say, and we're going to do the conversation in terms of tarot cards. Now, I'm not a big astrologer. Okay, Annie Bones is a fabulous astrologer. I posted her link, what she had to say today about the sun entering Scorpio. But we got a couple other things going on in the sky, including the position of Mars, okay, in the sky. And Mars is also in Scorpio, I think within just 5 or 6 degrees of the sun. So we've got Mars in Scorpio as well as the sun in Scorpio. And if we look at the tarot card that represents the 10-degree period that starts today, October 23rd, going all into November 1st, the first 10 degrees of Scorpio. The allotment of the planets to the decans of the zodiac just happens to conspire to make Mars the inhabitant of this decan. See, Mars in Scorpio. So this card is obviously all of the planets and zodiac signs can't line up every year to the same things that they are in the tarot, but this just so happens to be the astrological case of what's going on in the heavens at the moment. Sun's in Scorpio and Mars is in Scorpio, and the decan that is assigned to the Five of Cups is this first decan of Scorpio right there. So it's kind of interesting things. Okay, the Five of Cups lives inside, along with two other cards, lives inside the Prince of Cups, which rules from October 13th all the way to November 12th. So this is the middle 10 degrees of the rulership of the Prince of Cups there, which just happens to be my father's birthday card and such. Now, if you are a ceremonial magician or a private meditative magician of some kind, and you set yourself up a little program of attuning yourself to the heavenly shenanigans going on, you might, during this 30 degree period, you might set up a series of meditations where you start by gazing at the tattva symbol that's represented by the Prince of Cups here in this 30 degree period, which is the water, see, water for cups. And there's the air tattva symbol, the blue circle for the prince. Okay, so technically, I guess a way to explore the spiritual dimensions that uh, is represented by the Prince of Cups, you would sort of astrally project into that image and have a look around at the vision that you've induced by that. That's also might be helpful for you to in your Enochian workings with the air subangle of the water tablet, which the Prince of Cups represents, or the Sea of Hakama of the Tablet of Union. But that's pretty technical stuff we're talking about there. Uh, I'm going to read what Crowley has to say about the death card, first of all, because uh, obviously, I mean, this is a fabulous death card. And it's got lots of the cool stuff. But, you know, it's the deck that Constance and I threw together many years ago, and we make no pretense of being either great artists or great anything. But Crowley's death card, or the Frida Harris death card, is something altogether more wonderful. And look, we've got a scorpion there, and we've got a serpent there. We got a fish because Nun actually the Hebrew letter Nun means fishes or the fish, and we've got a third animal there, an eagle there at the top, and instead of being all stiff and everything else, it looks like it's almost under the sea, uh, and he's uh, swirling up kind of new life with the same sweep of the scythe there that we associate with the cutting down of life. But anyway, here's what Crowley has to say. This card, I'll keep it up. This card is attributed to the letter Nun, which means a fish, the symbol of life beneath the waters, life traveling through the waters. It refers to the zodiacal sign of Scorpio, which is ruled by Mars. The planet of fiery energy in its lowest form, which is therefore necessary to provide the impulse. In alchemy, this card explains the idea of putrefaction. Compost pile. People will recognize the gentle heat, the alchemical gentle heat that's caused by the decomposition of organic material in a compost pile. That's your death card going on right there. So, you think that's the end of life? Ha! It's just the warm new womb of a new life. Okay? But I digress. In alchemy, this card explains the idea of putrefaction, the technical name given by its adepts to a series of chemical changes which develops the final form of life from the original latent seed in the Orphic egg. This sign, and I spend a lot of time in my book, Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot, on that particular alchemical operation as it relates to the sequence of cards in the tarot trumps. So if that subject fascinates you, you may want to turn to your, I'm sure you have at least one copy of Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot and follow that through, because it also has everything to do with the big sort of sex magic supreme secret too. But I digress. This sign is one of the two most powerful in the zodiac. And I think he's talking about the other one being Leo. But it is not the simplicity and intensity of Leo. It is formally divided into three parts. The lowest, symbolized by the scorpion. Let's see. Which was supposed by early observers of nature to commit suicide when finding itself ringed with fire or otherwise in a desperate situation. This represents putrefaction in its lowest form. The strain of environment has become intolerable, and the attacked element willingly subjects itself to change, like in a, well, here he says it. Thus, potassium thrown upon water becomes ignited and accepts the embrace of the hydroxyl radical. In other words, it says, yeah, let me change. And it does it so fast it's explosive. And we know that the use of chemical or of fertilizer in explosives, that putrefaction activity going on in when compost or manure composts, it's the heat that's given off, and that can be exploited to make great explosive devices even. So that's the Scorpio part, or the scorpion part. The middle interpretation of this sign is given by the serpent. There's the serpent, who is, moreover, the main theme of the sign. The serpent is sacred, lord of life and death, and its method of progression suggests the rhythmical undulation of those twin phases of life, which we call respectively life and death. The serpent is also, as previously explained, the principal symbol of male energy. Now, I don't want to do spoiler alert, but in many of the alchemical treatises of the classic ones that you come across as you're attempting to understand the process of the creation of life and the mechanics of creation itself, you often hear about this serpent and an eagle. And that can be translated on the very lowest physical level of that, material level of that, because the big understanding is to be had with the highest level of what this means. But in the lowest physical, organic level of understanding of this, the serpent is the male and the eagle is the female. The serpent is this squiggly little wormy, spermy thing, and the eagle, the tears of the eagle is the female physical sexual response or issue, if you will. So serpent and egg, if we want to look at it that way. It's an alchemical symbol. And just don't think that, oh, that's just a blind for naughty talk. Oh, it's just no. The naughty talk is a blind for the real talk. Okay, so don't start wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and think that's where alchemy ends. Okay, but I digress. Okay, the serpent is sacred lord of life and death, and its method of progression suggests the rhythmical undulation of those twin forces of life, which we call respectively life and death. The serpent is also, as previously explained, the principal symbol of male energy. From this will be seen that this card is, in a very strict sense, the completion of the card called Lust. And that is the Leo card, okay? Atu 11 and Atu 12, and 12 is the hanged man, represents the solution or the dissolution which links them. So like when you put your emergency powder into a glass of water and stir it up before you drink it. Okay. The highest aspect of the card is the eagle, which represents exaltation above solid matter. It was understood by the early chemists that in certain experiments, the purest, in other words, the most tenuous elements present were given off as gas. Okay, the scorpion gives it off as an explosion, and the snake gives it off as a sort of an undulation. If it gets too hot, it cools down, and if it gets too cool, it heats up. It's just kind of right in the middle. But the eagle is so subtle that it's given off as gas. Like when Howard Carter opened up King Tut's tomb, and he held up a candle, and as the last seal was broken and the tomb was unsealed, the candle blew out because it went pfft. That was caused by thousands of years of what was left of organic material in King Tut's tomb. The textiles and the wood and other things were slowly decomposing, and it gave it off as a gas. Okay. I'd like to say gas. Okay. Where highest aspect is the eagle, which represents exaltation above solid matter. It is understood by early chemists I've already said that. The card itself represents the dance of death. The figure is a skeleton bearing a scythe, and both the skeleton and the scythe are important Saturnian symbols. Okay, now I don't want to point out what should already be obvious, that the lawnmower, the modern sort of scythe that our death card skeleton is pushing, has a simple Tau cross as the handle. And that Tau cross, okay, that Tau cross, let's see, is the symbol of Tav, which is attributed to Saturn. Okay. This appears strange, as Saturn has no overt connection with Scorpio, but Saturn represents the essential structure of existing things. He is that elemental nature of things which is not destroyed by ordinary change, which occurs in the operations of nature. Furthermore, he is crowned with the crown of Osiris. That's his hat there that he's wearing. Let's see. He represents Osiris in the waters of Amenti. Yet more, he is the original, secret, male creative God. See Atu 5 or Atu 15, which is the devil card. And we know in the Thoth Tarot, it's pretty unambiguously a male symbol. Redunt Saturnia Regna. It is only the corruption of the tradition, the confusion with Set and the cult of the dying god misunderstood, deformed and distorted by the Black Lodge, that it turned into a senile and fiendish symbol. He's talking about them both here. With the sweep of his scythe, he creates bubbles, which are beginning to take shape as new forms, which he creates in his dance. And these forms dance also. In this card, the symbol of the fish is paramount. The fish and the serpent are two principal objects of worship in cults which taught the doctrines of resurrection and of reincarnation. We have Oannes and the Dagon fish gods in Western Asia, and many other parts of the world are similar cults. Even in Christianity, the Christ was represented as the fish, the word ichthus, which means fish, and very aptly symbolizes Christ. As Browning reminds one, was supposed to be the notaricon, the initials of the sentence meaning Jesus Christ, Son of God, Savior. Nor is it an accident that St. Peter was a fisherman. St. Paul was an asshole. St. Peter was a fisherman. The Gospels, too, are full of miracles involving fish, and the fish is sacred to Mercury because of its cold-bloodedness, its swiftness, and its brilliance. Moreover, there's the sexual symbolism. This again recalls the function of Mercury as the guide of the dead and as the continuing elastic element in nature. This card must be considered as of greater importance and catholicity than would have been expected from the plain zodiacal attribution. It is even a compendium of the universal energy in its most secret form. Wow. Okay. Death card is an important thing there. But today, what do we got time-wise? I shouldn't have digressed so much. Because of the specialness of this 10-degree period that we're in right now, that's literally starting today and goes through this week. And I know the world seems like it is an alchemical decomposition stage. Okay, I don't want to be a downer, but it really feels like we're in a compost pile of the stinkiest stuff going on. Okay, Crowley talks about the fives first of all. Now, why is the five called loss and pleasure, or Crowley calls it disappointment? But loss and pleasure means that there was little pleasure to begin with. It's a hit in pleasure rather than you don't get no pleasure. Okay, that's why I've got the 5 cups in the process of spilling what's left of some wine there. There was wine to begin with, but now we're sort of losing the last sweet drops there. In the Naples arrangement, that's Crowley's Tree of Life kind of treatment thing. I've got what do I do with it? Okay. In the Naples arrangement, The introduction of the number 5 shows the idea of motion coming to the aid of matter. Okay. Now, when he says the introduction of 5, he's talking about it's coming from number 4. Supernal triad's really up there, and that Saturn holds all sorts of double, triple duty as being the planetary sphere of number 3, Bina. But stability, the king of the gods, the ordered universe, is really starts with number 4, and it's sort of unbalanced over there, but it's unbalanced sort of toward mercy. Okay. Now, 4 is the demiurge. It's the God that thinks it's God, but it isn't God because it doesn't have any idea that there were 3 pre-dimensional factors going into its popping out into manifestation. It's like Zeus or Jehovah in number 4, Jehovah, the big 4-letter name. Okay, it's the demiurge. It's a God that thinks it's God because it looks around and it doesn't see anybody else here, so I must be God. Okay, you would look at the supernal triad as if it were just a flat triangle with no dimension whatsoever. In order for dimension to come into dimension, in order for existence to come into existence, a 4th point that's not on the plane of that flat triangle has to come into existence. It pops into existence. Like the I've got a tetrahedron around here someplace, like the point of a tetrahedron pyramid. The point looks around, never realizing there was a pre-dimensional base that brought it into existence. The point looks around and says, I'm the single point. I must be God because I don't see anybody else in this new fresh dimension. Well, that new fresh dimension is number 4. That's Zeus. That's Jupiter. That's Jehovah. That's the demiurge of everybody's king of the gods. If it was a universe of monsters, that'd be Godzilla. Okay. So what Crowley's talking about the introduction of 5, let's see, the introduction of the number 5 shows the idea of motion coming to the aid of that of matter. So motion, matter. This is quite a revolutionary conception. The result is a complete upset of the statically stabilized system. Okay, that would be the number 4, Hesed, mercy, the statically stabilized system. Now appears storm and stress. This must not be regarded as something evil. The natural feeling about it is really a little more than the reluctance of people to get up from lunch and go back to the job. In the Buddhist doctrine of sorrow, this idea is implicit, that inertia and insensitiveness must characterize peace. The climate of India is perhaps partially responsible for this notion because it's so hot. Everybody is. The adepts of the white school, of which the tarot is a sacred book, cannot agree to such simplification of existence. Every phenomenon is a sacrament. For all that, a disturbance is a disturbance. So the 5 of Wands is called strife. Okay, that would be the highest level, but the 5 of Cups. On the other hand, the 5 of Cups is called disappointment, or technically loss in pleasure, as is only natural because fire, okay, fire is the fire of 5. Fire delights in a superabundant energy, whereas water, that's the cups, whereas the water of pleasure is naturally placid, and any disturbance of ease can only be regarded as misfortune. Okay, that we're talking about today. There. Okay, let me see if they also talks about Mars. Five of Cups. Oh, and I should be holding up the Thoth Tarot's Five of Cups. If you'll bear with me for a second, I'll try to quickly find it, so I can hold it up as I talk about it. Now, if you were to, as I'm looking, if you were to set up a meditation program, like I brought up the staring at the tattva symbol or something like that, you might also want to intone the note G, because G is something like that, is the note that is associated with the Hebrew letter Nun. Okay, I'm probably completely overlooking. There's 8. There's 2. There we go. All right. And this is it'll only take a second. I know you want to get on with your Mars and Scorpio disappointing day. This card is ruled by Geburah, that's number 5 on the Tree of Life, in the suit of water. Geburah being fiery, there is a natural antipathy. Hence arises the idea of disturbance, just when least expected in a time of ease. Sorry. The attribution is also to Mars in Scorpio, which is his own house. And Mars is the manifestation on the lowest plane of Geburah. Well, Scorpio, in its worst aspect, suggests the putrefying power of water. Stagnant water, if you want to actually picture it. Stinky, stagnant water. Yet the powerful male influences do not show actual decay, only the beginning of stagnation, the beginning of destruction. Hence, the anticipated pleasure is frustrated. The lotuses have their petals torn by fiery winds. The sea is arid and stagnant, a dead sea like a chalk in the North Africa. In North Africa, no water flows into the cups. Moreover, these cups are arranged in the form of an inverted pentagram symbolizing the triumph of matter over spirit. Mars in Scorpio. Moreover, well, it can't get any worse than that. Mars in Scorpio, moreover, is the attribution of the geomantic figure Rubeus. Okay, now Rubeus, the geomantic figures, let's see if we can show you there. See where it says Rubeus? It's a downward pointing triangle on top and a square on the bottom. That's the Rubeus, is the symbol of Scorpio, and Mars in Scorpio in the divinatory practice of geomancy. Mars in Scorpio is the attribute of the geomantic figure Rubeus. This is of such evil omen that certain schools of geomancy destroy the map and postpone the question for 2 hours or more when Rubeus appears in the ascendant. You whip up 12 geometric symbols and project them on a zodiacal wheel or a square. And if Rubeus is the one that appears in the first in the first house, you go, oh, leave my tent. Okay. Its meaning is to be studied in the Handbook of Geomancy. Okay. There's that. Okay, back to the suggestion of actual magical operations that might be appropriate. If you really wanted to get spooky, you've got two Goetic spirits that you might want to whip up on Halloween. Okay, and there's Epos. Got a cool looking symbol there for Epos. That's the day spirit. And we've got Amy. Hello, Amy, as the night spirit. Let's see. Let's see. What do we have? The descriptions of them. Okay. Oh, no. 5 of. Okay, Epos. He's an earl and a mighty prince and appears in the form of an angel with a lion's head and a goose's foot and a hare's tail. He knoweth all things past, present, and to come, maketh men witty and bold. He governeth 36 legions. Epos actually does not come with too much negative baggage. So who wouldn't want all of those things? And he might be a helper if those are the things you need. And the night spirit, Amy, or Avnas, he's a great president and appears at first in the form of a flaming fire. This would suggest to some magicians that a small bowl of burning alcohol or a flame or a fireplace or something might serve as the circle within the triangle that you evoke the spirit. Fire anyway, or a candle in the triangle or something. In the form of a flaming fire, but after a while he putteth on the shape of a man. His office is to make one wonderful knowing in astrology and all liberal sciences, and he gives good familiars and can bewray the treasure that is kept by other spirits. Okay. Anyway, that's our beginning of Scorpio sampler for this 23rd day of October 2023. And it went far over what I thought it was going to go. Constance will be mad at me. Anyway, until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Don't get too bummed out about Mars in Scorpio. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.